Welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Today, let's talk about compliments. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. Thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate you taking time out of your presumably and assuredly very busy schedule to give my thoughts a listen. If you agree with my thoughts, a thumbs up would be fantastic, or a little heart, depending on what you're listening or watching on. If you don't agree with my thoughts and my perspectives and my opinions, please let me know. Leave a comment. I'd be happy to clarify if there's a question and or debate, I guess would be the term, right? To dialogue back and forth about that. And I'm always open to other opinions based on experiences and things of that nature. Today, I want to talk a little bit about compliments. When was the last time you received like a legitimate compliment about something you did, something you accomplished, something that happened that caused somebody else in your sphere? And this could be a boss, this could be a coworker, this could be a child, a kid in your realm, like a niece, nephew, son, daughter. This could be your spouse. Absolutely. This could be your parent. When was the last time somebody gave you a legitimate compliment? You got it? Well, now think about what's the best compliment that you've ever received? Something that, man, just left a mark of this highlight, this high point in your life timeline of this compliment that really was a game changer for you. You have that moment? Now think about how you felt. Think about the reaction inside. Think about, in your soul, in your heart, as well as in your mind. What did it do to affect your mood, to affect your outlook, to affect your mindset, to affect your performance, whatever that is? How did that compliment boost it? Because almost assuredly and guaranteed it enhanced your mood, it enhanced your mindset, it encouraged you, it did something positive for you at that moment. And whether, and maybe it wasn't like, oh, I'm on cloud nine and I'm floating because, so-and-so said my hair is really good today or something of that nature. But it definitely does something, maybe it brings that, that little smile, that little extra pep in your step, that little extra friendliness that you pass on to other people. And it affects us all positively. That's what compliments are. And I wanted to kind of break down the term compliment and what a compliment is a little bit into two main factors of what creates a compliment. A compliment is created out of appreciation and then finally out of gratitude, right? It's a recognition. It's something that you tell somebody else, whether it could be in the form of a card or a note or an email, in passing, just offhandedly. We don't necessarily put a lot into it, but we provide that recognition and appreciation in that moment. And then other times it's well thought out. You do it in front of a large crowd or, some ceremony. You pay these compliments to people to show appreciation and recognition. And ultimately it's out of a sense of gratitude towards that person for what they're doing. And I wanted to ask you, what is it? Because again, this is a leadership podcast, and these are some of the secrets that we're sharing about compliments. You as the leader in your business, whether you're a department head, the business owner, a supervisor, a manager, some form or fashion where other people look to you to be that leader, to be that personality, to be that persona of the leader in your organization. What are you complimenting? And is it more than just one thing, right? Because you can compliment effort, like, hey, you really went the extra mile for that thing, Mr. Jones. Thank you so much for showing up and putting in the hard work to track down the problem source for our client, right? You can compliment results. Like, wow, you closed that client that we've been working on forever and massive results, maybe in the form of revenue or whatever that looks like for your business. You can compliment dedication. Like, hey, Sally, like you haven't missed a day in I don't even remember the last time you listened to Dateline. We appreciate your loyalty to this company. And it could be in other areas where an employee or a staff member has demonstrated that dedication and loyalty to your company or to you as the leader. And then also you could compliment technique. Like, man, I really like how you do that. Like, that's super efficient. And I know that's not something that we taught you. You just developed on your own and you figured out a better way to do it. And it saves us money and it's more efficient. And because of that, our revenue and blah, 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 right? You can see that. So you're complimenting, a technique of them doing something or how they interact with customers, like some sort of technique that they have. And there's a ton of different areas, certainly, that you can compliment. Everything from physical appearance, like, hey, great job. I know you started a diet, 2 months ago, and man, way to go sticking to it, because it's really starting to show. Like, we can see it in your energy levels and how much happier you are because you're sticking to this, and whatever that is, or a fitness routine, some form of what it is that you're complimenting on across these different aspects of your business and or life, right? Because this can absolutely apply to your home life, your social life, your church life, your community life, whatever else you've got going on. But let's focus a little bit mainly on the business side of things in your workplace. Because what compliments do is they create a form of connection. And this is a very low-hanging fruit that if you are struggling to connect with your people, if you are struggling to build this culture of kind of trust, of open communication in your organization, start with compliments. Start with, and not just kind of those underhanded compliments. You know what I'm talking about? Not the things where you're like, I can't even really think of a good example, but I think we can all kind of mentally picture that when a compliment's not genuine. You're like, "Oh, nice hair today, Rick." That's more joking and ribbing than it is an actual compliment. But if you use compliments in a genuine manner to show recognition, to show appreciation, to show a gratitude towards that people, towards that team, towards that organization, it is a very easy way to begin that journey or strengthen that communication lines, that connections in your team. And ultimately, it starts to build that culture around that. Because guess what? As you're doing it, other people, they get, because they like it being done to them, it's just natural for us to return in kind to other people around us. And not that you're telling people compliments, just to get complimented on yourself, right? Because we've all seen that, and hopefully you're not doing that. But we can think of those examples where people are really only asking questions in order for you to ask them questions so they can talk about themselves, or they're really only giving you a compliment like, "Oh, hey Terry, I really like that tie," as they're kind of showcasing their own tie that they want you to ask them about. "Oh yeah, this tie." It's a trivial example, but you get my point and my meaning of. Some people use compliments as just a gateway for you to ask them about themselves and them talking about themselves. So I want you to avoid that if that is your mode that you operate in normally. But it really builds this culture of appreciation. And I will argue with anyone that if you build a culture in your workplace based on appreciation, based on recognition, based on gratitude, that you will have one of the strongest organizational cultures of anywhere. Of any company, because that's what causes people to have buy-in. That's what causes them to have dedication and get the results and put in the effort and ultimately, create those new techniques to become more efficient, to become more profitable for your business, because they see all that and it's recognized and it's appreciated. So I'm going to talk in another couple episodes, kind of the counter of this, and that is criticism. But I don't want to end on that, because we're going to dedicate an episode to criticism, because it has a lot of very similar themes throughout it of why we criticize, what it does to our culture. But I want to leave you with this concept and idea of complimenting other people. If that is not a regular part of your interactions with your team members, with your staff members, make it so. Make it to where you are purposely recognizing people for their effort. And it doesn't have to be anything just outrageous, of these huge or lofty goals. It can be something as simple as, hey, John, thank you so much for, sticking around the other night as we were trying to finish this project. It really helped. Or, hey, Susan, thank you so much for stepping up while, Jackie was out sick with her son, last week. I recognize that was a sacrifice for you, and I can't tell you enough, what that means to our organization, right? And that just goes because it builds that camaraderie, it builds that teamwork, and it builds that recognition factor in your company. And you'd be hard pressed to find any negatives in that, if I can think of any. Not that I can think of any right now. So, compliments. Do them often. They don't have to be some big grand gestures. They can be, but they do need to be personal. They do need to be genuine. And I hate to use the term equitable, but you can't ignore, the people that you maybe just don't like or don't care for. So be cautious with that, and maybe we'll talk about that aspect of it in a future episode, because that touches on so many other things as far as favoritism and fraternization and all those types of concepts. But compliments are an easy way that you can create culture, create connection, open communication in your organization. So I would highly encourage you to do that. Thank you so much for spending the last, 12, 13 minutes with me. I really appreciate it. I hope you find the next couple episodes beneficial to you and helpful in your business. If you do, please let me know. I would greatly appreciate any feedback, and constructive criticism is always welcome as well. Have a fantastic afternoon, no matter where you're at in the world. Bye.